Hey, y'all, we are live just a tad bit early. Yes, just a tad bit early. It seems like the um the broadcast was running a little slow, and I'm sure I don't know for sure, but it could be because of Facebook. So I'm on a little bit early, y'all. I hope you don't mind. I'll just give it some time for some people to get notified and be aware that we are on live, and this is day four of the Single Mom Finding Real Love Challenge. So I'll give it a minute because I am a little bit early. Let me check the volume on. Hey, y'all, we are live, and this is day four. There we go. Y'all can hear me. Yay! That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm gonna give it a minute. I don't even think I got notified that I'm on live yet. And I usually get the ding. Um, yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully it notifies you, lets you know that I'm live. And I am a little bit early. It is now 8 o'clock. So I'm just gonna chit chat a little bit because I am on earlier than normal. I came on before 8, like by 1 minute, but it's all good. It's all good. So now my computer's gonna decide. That's what's probably been holding up. My computer's trying to decide to doing you know how it does that sweep and the cleaning back behind the scenes, and so that's what it's doing. So it's like messing with my computer and my everything. I do this almost every time, and it's crazy that I do, but I'm pulling that down so you can see me a little bit better. So my name is Bess Parks. I am the single mom of two. Again, this is day 4 of the Single Moms Real Love Challenge. Let me okay, there we in the chat. Hey Sharonda, thank you for watching live. Thank you for everybody watching the replays. I appreciate that so much. I don't know if you guys have noticed this during this live that there is a chirping in the background, and I'm sure most of you know what that is. That's my alarm. So one of the alarms was actually red and needed a new battery. That one, the battery got changed to like a Duracell. The other one got a store brand battery put in it, and it's not working very well. It's not working very well. Excuse the lag and the sometimes freezing a little bit. They're building some new houses and stuff, and they're running the cables for the internet and all that stuff through them. And every time they do this around the area that I live in, it slows everybody else up, you know? So, yeah, bear with me tonight because I think that's what's been going on today. Um, and now my computer's doing some kind of upgrade. Okay, so this must be getting ready to be a good talk because all these interruptions. So anyway, the topic for today, day 4 of the Single Moms Finding Love Challenge, is this. So this is it. Okay, I don't know why now it's running a little slow. Okay, so today's topic is, how do we keep love in our relationships? So real love happens in all of our relationships. All of our relationships, it comes from a real loving place from within us, from within our hearts. Somewhere at some point in time in our lives, our minds have been changed, and we have a new perspective and a new outlook on things, which change. The renewing of our minds will change our hearts and how we love other people. So I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna tell you a story. Let me tell you a story real quick. So when I was 18, I dated this guy, and we dated for about 6 months total. Um, when I was younger, I did not understand dating. I didn't understand dating completely. I didn't understand what it was. Yeah, dated, and I didn't understand the difference between dating and having a boyfriend. Other than the fact that having a boyfriend meant I had to be with one person. So I was more a fan of just dating and dating people, you know. Um, let's just say sometimes there was physical activity, physical activity between us, and sometimes there wasn't. So there was um, there was one guy that I dated when I was 18 years old, and he was like the first guy that actually saw me for me, because I was so real with him, because I was not attracted to him in that way. I wasn't attracted to him in a romantic way, but I did like talking to him. He was real easy to talk to. Um, Real easy to talk to. We talked about this and that and whatever, at 18, But I just remember that he was very easy to talk to. His family loved me. um, and I could tell that, because when I came, they were very, hey, how you doing? How things going? Oh, you guys going out? They wanted to know, they were really genuinely interested in how I was doing, and about me, and their family member going out, and what we were, what we were going to do, and all this other stuff. They were really interested in that. And the things that I didn't know that were going on was what he would do to prepare for us to go out somewhere. So what I didn't know is that he was putting aside things that he knew I did not like. He would put those things aside, and completely, take a shower, do everything, and do all of that, because of his love for me. So yeah, we dated for 6 months, but I think about the 3 month mark, he told me that he loved me. Kind of scared me because I was 18, but I didn't understand. I didn't understand that then. And because I didn't understand it, of course, I ran from it. So I ran from it. Let's fast forward 30 years later. Actually, probably 34 years later. So last year, I was in the middle of doing a wisdom challenge in January of 2021. January 2021. Was it January 2021? Huh. Yes. January 2021. I was in the middle of doing a 31-day wisdom challenge, and I happened to be fasting during that same month, and I was, just laying things before God, praying before Him, and asking for help to get things better and within myself. And this time I wasn't being really selfish about it. I wanted some things to be corrected in my life and needed help with. And this man shows up, and it was on social media, and I at this time I wasn't I had just got started getting familiar with social media. He actually had reached out to me back in 2020, and yeah, it was in 2020. So he actually reached out to me in 2020, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember this now. So yeah, he actually reached out to me in 2021, and actually his mom had passed away. Um, in 2020, his mom had passed away. We kind of missed each other, did texting back and forth and everything in 2020. And it wasn't until 2021 in January that we actually really connected. Um, he reached out to me, and for him, it was a last try, to see if I was, out there, and to see if I would respond. I recognized his name. I saw it. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning here in Central Standard Time, and he's in California. And so I happened to see this because now all of a sudden I know how to use Instagram better. So I didn't realize that you can leave messages and stuff, and that I didn't even know how to get to the message box. But just in, navigating and checking it out. Hey, Kaylin, thank you for joining on live. So I figured it out and noticed that he had left me some messages and was like, "What? This is crazy." So I read it. I saw that he was trying to let me know that his mom had passed away. His mom had spoken to me a lot after we broke up, probably for almost maybe 6 months to a year after we broke up. I used to go by his house to see his mom, and we would sit down and have conversations about everything. Um, she was the one that told me about about eating a large salad to control and manage your weight. Um, Eating large salads. She told me about that, and we just had conversations and stuff. And eventually, she just told me, just go ahead on and live your life because he's gonna do whatever he's gonna do. And she had told me that he was moved in with some girl, and so I left him. I left it alone. So, like I said, fast forward 30 years later. Um, he reaches out again, and so I finally reach out to him at the same time because we kept sending notes to each other. And I was focused on what my calling and my purpose was because I had been led to that and was really trying to learn some new things about social media, about my business, about all this stuff. And so when we did finally connect, I reached out to him, and it was 5 o'clock in the morning here, and he actually answered me, and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing up?" And so we went back and forth, and he's asking about my family, my mom and my sister. So he did not know that my mom and sister had passed away. Um, so then he tells me, "Oh, okay, and he sent his condolences, said he's sad to hear that." And so we were going back and forth, and then he says, "You could just call me." And so he gave me his number, and so I could see him typing, because how it says someone's telling you that the other person's typing. And so I just called him. And ever since then, we have been on the phone. I've gone back out to California for vacation for a week and spent some time with him and some of my other friends some of my girlfriends for my birthday. We've been actually dating, long distance dating. I thought I would never do that, but that's what happened. I believe that the reason why I was even open enough for this relationship was because of the things that I reached out to and realized in myself, like I talked about, um, like we talked about in day one and day two, those things that we need to look for and correct within ourselves, to change within ourselves. Um, that's what I did, and I took some time to do that. So after in 2007, I told you guys that that I had those three things that happened week after week after week. Broke up with the kid's dad. My sister passed away. My only sibling passed away suddenly, unexpectedly in her sleep. Then I got laid off from my job. My job actually ended up sponsoring my family for Christmas. They went all out, all out. And to me, I was so I guess still in shock, but then to see that God would show up in some other people to bless me, my kids, and my mother, who was in a nursing home, who I was bringing home, for Christmas to spend Christmas Day with us at least. Um, because it was really hard to try to have her there overnight, and I had my kids too and school and all that stuff. But for oh my gosh, it was just amazing. These were the people that laid me off, that sponsored my family for Christmas. I had almost whole living room, three-quarters of the living room was full of presents for my kids. Presents for my kids. They had gift cards in the tree for me, gas cards in the tree for me, and they turned around and actually contract hired me for two projects. And so they paid me for those and paid me the same wage I was getting before. It was amazing. It was amazing. And for me, that's when I knew that God was real. I was like, I just got laid off from the job. The people that laid me off sponsored my family for Christmas. Um, when they heard that my sister passed away, the vice president and the president both wrote um, $1,000 checks to me. Neither one of them talked to each other about it. They individually did that, and that was my my severance pay, and part of my severance pay. And then they turned around and paid me bereavement pay on top of that. And then, of course, it was just mind blowing to me that God would love me in a situation like that, where I'm thinking things have gone crazy, things have gone nuts. And the relationship that I have with God is because of that situation. Nobody could tell me he doesn't exist, because I felt him all around me. He held me while I was on the floor in the kitchen sleeping for, I don't know, a month and a half or so, because that was where I was comfortable. I couldn't sleep in a bed, couldn't sleep on a couch. I was on the floor. Um, I could say that one time my son found me on the floor, and he just sat there with me and said, "It was okay, mommy." And just sat with me. He didn't ask questions. He just told me it was okay and just sat with me. Um, that was a rough time, y'all. But that relationship was nurtured and truly invested. And I became invested in that relationship with God. And then God started showing me things and healing my heart from wounds from when I was little. Uh, things and thoughts that I had about myself, about situations that happened when I was little, situations that I overheard, that I misunderstood what was being said because I was a child. Um, all of that. He even healed me from the relationship with my kid's dad that wasn't working, because I was trying so hard to make it work, and he was doing what he could do to make it work, but we just didn't go together. We didn't become, we weren't able to become one or get on the same page. We were always on opposite pages and in different chapters. So it just didn't work. I'm not upset about that, because I got my kids out of that whole relationship. I'm not upset. I don't regret it, because I learned a lot of stuff about myself. I learned a lot of stuff about myself. We were together for 7 years, and I learned so much about myself, and things that I don't want to repeat. And so I took myself off the market for a while. Let's say it was a while. It actually ended up being 7 years. I took myself off the market for 7 years so that I could take the time to get my mind renewed, heal, let my heart heal, um, learn how to love myself, learn how to be a better mom for my kids. Because I was in a relationship that wasn't working out, and my kids were suffering. And I didn't realize that until I started seeing it once I was away from it, and I started seeing how my kids reacted to me, and it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking how they reacted to me when in our relationship with each other. So I made it a point to um, make sure that my kids and I can talk to each other. They can come to me with just about everything, anything. Although once they start getting a little older, some of the stuff I don't want to know. you know, I was like, they have to filter out and figure out what they're gonna tell me, what they're not gonna tell me. And I'm okay with that. Um, because I know that my kids know that they can talk to me. My daughter did have a period where she felt like she couldn't talk to me, or felt like she was not being heard, and I went. We got a counselor. I went and paid for a counseling session for my daughter and I, and we had 3 sessions. It was one for me, One session with me and the counselor, one session with my daughter and the counselor, and a session with us together. And so we learned some tools and techniques through there so that we can better our relationship. The real love is there. Sometimes love requires you to pay monetarily, counseling, something like that, um, to um, to nurture it, to grow it, to make it better, and to help with the communication. Sometimes that's what's required. A lot of times, real love is time. Time. We talked about the definition of that I put out for the definition of love, and one of them was patience. We have to have patience with love. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. I don't expect the guy that I'm dating to be perfect. But the one thing that I love about that man is that he gives me space to be myself. He gives me space to do the things that I feel called to do or led to do, like the Single Moms Club. He gives me space to do my business. He gives me space to participate in things at church. He gives me space to do that, and I do the same for him. And I allow him to be himself. He allows me to be myself, and this is the only man that's ever done that for me. And then to love me as I am, to love me as I am, um, faults and all of that. He loves me as I am. I asked him at one time, I was like, why do you love me? And he says, that was just to have a conversation. And so he told me that the reason, or no, I asked him, how do you know that you love me? He said, because he recognizes and loves my spirit. It's the spirit in me that he loves. And he knows that I am the right person for him because because I was able to share some things and tell him the truth, but in love, in a loving and kind way and concerned way. And so that's what he loves about me. He's the spirit, because I was like, oh wow, he recognizes my spirit. Nobody's ever recognized my spirit, you know, not man wise, in a relationship, in a romantic relationship. None of them have actually recognized my spirit. Most of the relationships that I was in were about my body. So, when I was younger, of course, everything was tight and right. You know, everything was tight and right. And, that's what they came for. They came for that. And I didn't know any better not to allow just anybody to touch me. Because I was raised by a single mom, and it takes that man to actually give the identity to the children. And when they're not there, that identity sometimes gets skewed because they're not there to give that to the children. We can't control that, but we can pray about it and ask God to step in and take the place of the father that's missing, that's not there 24/7, and to help the kids to understand what's going on, and to be better people, as they grow older, and to help us to steer and guide them on how to love and be loving. So I didn't talk bad about their kid's dad. I'm going to say the majority of the time, because there were moments that I was extremely angry, and but I didn't really say foul stuff. I just was angry about it, you know. And I would just say, well, that's how your dad is. That's this, that. And then eventually I caught myself and realized that's not how I should be responding. I should be responding in love and say, hey, let's pray about it. Let's pray about your dad. Let's pray for your dad, that God can change him. So there have been changes recently in the past few years. But I just know God has placed it on my heart to accept the fact that he is family. We're connected for the rest of our lives. So he's family. So it's a family love that I have for him. It's not a love like forever. It's not like that. it's not a relationship in that way anymore. I've I've been healed from that and separated from that. So that's not how I feel about him. I just feel about him like I do someone else in my family, my uncles, my cousins, or whatever. If something happens, yeah, I'm gonna be upset about it. It's gonna affect me, but I'm not concerned about what he doing. I don't care where he at. Do you, boo? That type of thing. And I'm just like, it's not that I don't care about him, but I'm just not concerned with his daily and everyday stuff. I'm not trying to find out how he's doing. None of that. He could be all right by himself. I still love him from a distance, and I've learned what that is, how to love some people from a distance. Um, Here's another story about a quick one because it's almost that time. My dad. So my dad, when my sister passed away, my dad stepped in and started reaching out to me. And on a daily basis, he would reach out to me. But I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to talk to him. I was just like, it's not you that I want. I want my mama, you know, and that's who I want to talk to. And so after my mom passed away, my dad was calling, and then after my mom passed away, my dad started calling me every day to check, trying to check on me, leaving me messages. I just wouldn't pick up the phone. So this is what God does. This is how God works. So God reached my cousin who's lived in Paris in France at the time with his wife and kids, had him wake up in the morning and had him to start calling me. And he would call me at like 6 a.m. in the morning. And we would talk for an hour or so. And he was the one, it's one of my male cousins that's older than me. And he was the one that helped me to understand that I needed to let my dad love me in the way that he knows how to love me, to accept how he's trying to love me. And that was it. His way of loving me was making phone calls. He may not have known what to say or what to do, but that's how he loved me at that point in time in my life. And he said I needed to allow him to love me and to pick up the phone because he cares and he's trying to find out if I'm okay. So I ended up doing that. I ended up forgiving my dad for conversations, things I overheard. I ended up forgiving him for not knowing how to love me. I ended up forgiving him for not upholding what I had in my mind a dad should be. I forgave him for that, because how's he gonna know how to do that if he didn't even know that that's what I was looking for? But and true, he could have asked, but he didn't know. So quick backstory on my dad is that his mom passed away when he was 14, and his dad moved on and had a whole nother family in a whole different state and everything halfway across the country. Started a whole new family, so he didn't have direction on family. His uh his aunt and his grandmother raised him and his younger siblings. um so that's a lot to have to navigate at 14. um and I had to accept the fact that he didn't know he has his grandmother raising him and a great aunt raising him. Mind you, these people were around when World War II broke out. um they were there. They were in, not there, but in America, and experienced that. There are a few maybe one or two family members off of slavery. So there were things that they didn't know and weren't aware of about raising kids. About raising children that were self confident and teaching us how to love each other, communication. None of that was present. So I had to accept that. And it took some time. I'm really grateful of the 7 years that I took because that taught me real love. I learned how to love myself. I learned how to do some things on my own, do a lot of things on my own. But I learned how to, what I mean about that is that venture out on my own. I learned some new skills. Um, I learned, event planning, how to upholstery. I learned how to do upholstery, and these were things that I could pick up and actually make a business out of. But that wasn't the reason why I did it. I did it to keep my mind busy because it was a lot for my sister and then my mom to pass away. It was a lot to process, and I didn't want to be sitting home doing nothing. So I went to school. I went to the adult school in my area and took some classes. I think I took about 4 or 5 classes. I learned cake decorating. I actually got a certificate where I can go into a bakery and actually decorate cakes because I'm certified to do that. And I was like, that's nuts. That's not why I came in here, but okay. But that was fun. It was new. It was adventurous. It did keep my mind occupied. And then plus I was learning new skills at the same time. So real love comes in all kinds of different ways, all kinds of different ways, and we have to learn how to accept it as it comes, um, just as long as it's real. And the way to test and see if it's real is to use that definition that I gave you yesterday. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back, watch the replay for day 3. The replay is under the guides section of the Single Moms Club group page, and it's up under the guides, and you can find it and watch the replay. And I gave a definition of what love was. So put it up against that, and if this person is not that, if this person is not that, whether it's a family member, um, yourself to yourself, your children, you got to teach them. You can't put that against your children. Your children love you no matter what. I hope you know that. No matter what, no matter the situation, your children love you. That is real love. No matter what, your children love you. Love yourself the same way. Love other people the same way. When you love yourself the same way and you love other people the same way, it's easier to do. It just comes naturally. So anyway, this is day 4. Tomorrow is day 5. I'm gonna shut it down because it's 2 minutes and some seconds after the 30-minute session. Thank you so much, Sharonda and Kaylin, for watching. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for watching the replays. I thank you guys. I want you to know that this group is not just in the United States, but we have other places. Um, I know Hawaii is in the United States, but we got people from Hawaii, people from London, people from Africa, people from, there's somebody from Puerto Rico, I think, in here. Um, there's some people from Zimbabwe. A lot of people from across the world are in here. Reach out and talk to some people. Some people may just need a word or to read your comment. Um, with your takeaways from whatever session that you may be watching. So press your comments, hit the like button, do those things and participate. Let this become the group where we can share our wins, share our hard times, ask for advice. Let this be that place. The topics again that I actually do these challenges once a month, usually around the 15th of the month, every month. There are these topics I'm pulling from the survey or the questions that I have you guys answer. The 3 questions that I have you answer in the beginning when you join. I have you answer this question of the most challenging part of being a single mom. What is it? And that's where I'm getting a lot of these challenges from, and the resources and stuff are things that I've used to answer and help me guide me in the things that you guys are saying are the most challenging things. So I don't have this completely I haven't arrived. I'm going to tell you, I'm still learning, and I know and accept that I'll always be learning and changing my perspective and my views on things, because as we level up, we can see better. We can see better. So I want you guys to come tomorrow. Bring another single mom with you, and let's do this, y'all. Let's level up. Hashtag single moms level up. How do we do that? Through self-care, self-education. That's how we do that. We're going to go from just surviving to CEO in every area of our lives through self-care and self-education. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hashtag single moms level up. Bye.